Welcome to FilmIn5D, the show about everything film in the 5D Mark II. I'm your host, Aaron Hammock, and this week we finally get around to the 180-degree rule.
You know, aren't rules meant to be broken?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. It's more like a guideline than a rule, but it's so frustrating to see people like do it for no reason, to like go beyond the 180-degree rule and cross over and stuff. You'll get it. Talk about it. So before we begin with this week's topic, I want to quickly talk about a previous topic, which was about rolling shutter. I finally got around to getting the rolling shutter plugin for After Effects from the Foundry. So I applied the footage in After Effects to a previous shot that I used to demonstrate the effects of rolling shutter. Now for the best results, I found that it worked to just leave the settings at their defaults. However, I did get some ugliness around the edges. To show you what I mean, take a look here. You can see that the lines are all crooked. I found that by lowering the vector scale to around 0, it smoothed it out a bit more. But on the flip side, the rolling shutter was more noticeable if I did this, so once again I'd recommend just leaving the settings at their defaults. Besides, the imperfections weren't very noticeable unless you look at the frames individually. But I definitely recommend using this plugin if you use a CMOS sensor camera, which includes most DSLR/video cameras. Next I'll talk about the 180-degree rule, but first, a message from our sponsor.
Are you bored of playing with those same old rocks every day? Well, then we have the thing just for you. Go ahead, hold out your hand. From the guys who brought you FilmIn5D and Super Flying Paper Footballs comes a whole new product, Magical Rocks. That's right, now these things may look like just ordinary rocks, but trust me, these things are out of this world. What are you waiting for? Test them out. Isn't that totally awesome and like nothing you've ever seen before? Well, for just one payment of $29.95, that's just one payment of $29.95, you can have your very own set of magical rocks.
Plus shipping, handling, and other taxes.
These rocks come from the heart of Mount Doom, so you know that they're 100% authentic. But don't wait, order within the next 5 seconds and we'll send you 2 extra rocks for free.
Plus shipping, handling, and other taxes.
Just call 1-866-123-4567. That's 1-866-123-4567. Don't wait, order now while supplies last.
These rocks are not actually from Mount Doom. Mount Doom is a work of fiction by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you actually believe that, then you're incredibly gullible. If you also thought that these rocks just have magnets in them, then you're also incredibly retarded. Cash money is the only accepted form of payment. You're not responsible for any choking costs. Keep out of reach of children.
And we're back. So the 180-degree rule is one of the first things that everyone learns in film school. But I want to stress that it is more important to be aware of this rule than it is to follow it to a T. Most people consider it to be more of a guideline than anything else, but it's important to remember that if you violate the rule, do it with a purpose, or else you'll just end up leaving your audience confused. But you're probably asking yourself, has he even mentioned what the 180-degree rule is? And the answer is no, I haven't, but I will right now. The 180-degree rule pretty much boils down to one thing, the perspective with which you see the characters in a scene. For example, in this dinner type scene, I'm on the left and Colton is on the right, so we've established position of both characters in the scene. So if we cut to an OTS of Colton, you'll notice that I'm still on the left and Colton is still on the right. The same is true if we cut to an opposite OTS, Colton is again on the right and I'm on the left. Now what you wouldn't want to see is that change in perspective, for instance a shot from the other side of the table where the subjects would basically be swapping positions. Here we have a diagram that I threw together to further demonstrate this rule, which is basically a bird's eye view of the scene I just showed. Basically I've drawn the line straight through both subjects, but you can change it around to get various effects. For example, if you draw your line horizontally, you can mess around with a silhouette look as if the subject is talking to someone that you do not want to reveal the identity of yet. I just want to stress that you can violate this rule if you have a purpose, and get creative with it too, don't just do it to be different. In a movie like The Shining, for example, you see this rule violated and it really gives you this uneasy feeling as Jack Nicholson's character slips into madness. But at the same time, they violated the rule by using a mirror, which is different and creative. But that's it for this week. Follow me on Twitter at Aaron Hammock, and if you have any questions you'd like to see answered on the show, you can send them via @mentions to our Twitter page at FilmIn5D, or if you're on Facebook, you can like our page at the link below. And we'll be back next week to talk about the rule of thirds.
So basically, you're just supposed to be consistent, right?
Yeah, that's like what the 180-degree rule is. Dude, you learned. How'd you learn that?
By watching you.
Yeah, so like, I mean, like I said, if your subject's on the right, keep them on the right consistently. That way people aren't thrown off, like all of a sudden they're on the left. Because a lot of times, like in darkness and stuff, like when you're first being introduced to a character, like you get the characters mixed up so fast if people are violating the 180-degree rule, especially for no reason. So I'd recommend not doing it at the beginning. If you're going to do it somewhere towards the middle or end. And do it with a purpose, like I said. And so yeah.
So what about like action films?
What about action films?
I don't know. It just seems like they kind of violate it often.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, sometimes it's done okay, but a lot of action films, if you like watch an action film, like, what the heck just happened?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably because they violated the 180-degree rule a lot, and then you're just confused by the end of it, like who just got their butt kicked, who died, which main characters died. You know, usually you know the main character survived or kicked butt or whatever, but there's someone who died at some point and you don't know what happened. This is very confusing. So, yeah, see you next week. Yep, I am just right about to get pissed. It's like every time. I should send them a video of me getting pissed.
A montage. It should be.
Yeah, montage of. I have lots of footage.